It's time for Ask Mike Mondays. Mike answers one listener's question every week. Here's Michael Becker and Paul Peebles.
Welcome to the Ask Mike Mondays. I'm your host, Paul Peebles, national underwriter for Old Capital. And joining me today, the richest guy in the room, Michael Becker.
I don't know about that one.
So Michael, who has over $250 million in non-recourse apartment loans and owns over 4,000 apartment units with his investors and his partners, he certainly is the smartest guy in the room. So Michael, let me see if I can ask you another question for Ask Mike Mondays. Laundry income. Should you own the machines or partner with a laundry vendor? And what are some of the important items that I should know?
Yeah, so that's kind of a question within a larger question, I think, because generally about other income that you can get on your properties. But starting with laundry income, when you buy an apartment, it's either the units have washer-dryer connections, so usually the newer constructed deals, the 80s and newer deals, typically have washer-dryer connections in their units, and have like virtually all these apartment complexes of size have a laundry room as well. So in case you don't own a washer dryer, you can have a laundry room and go use it. And the older ones may or may not have washer dryer connections, and they virtually all have laundry rooms as long as they have size to them. So the laundry rooms in there, you can either own your own machines, where then you got to service the machines. If they break, you got to fix them. You got to go take the money out of them, deposit in the bank. Or you can sign like a laundry contract. And the largest, like I said, like the laundry mafia is a company called Mac Gray or CoinMock. They merge together. So that's the vast majority of these apartments deal with that company. And so those contracts are good and bad. They kind of cut both ways. So the way they work is they typically, when you're signing up a laundry lease, you get some sort of an upfront bonus. Could be $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, whatever, depending on the size of the deal. A pretty large number. There's a revenue split. So typically it's like each machine, the laundry company gets the first, say, $1 or $1.20 per machine per day. So you have to produce that much revenue. And if you don't produce that day, it kind of accumulates over time. And then anything above it, they'll have like a revenue split. And typically that revenue split, if it's like, say, the higher the minimum, the higher the revenue split is. So they get the first, say, $1.20 a day a machine, and then above that, it's like 90-10 to the owner. So the owner will get 90% above it, and the CoinMock will get 10% above that. So you really incentivize if you really push a lot of people to get a lot of machines. But they certainly have their stats down a lot better than most people do on what these machines work and how much they produce a day. So it really kind of depends. So we typically, I think generally speaking, it's better to own your own machines and not get the bonus and collect 100% of that revenue. But you'll have to make sure you have your systems in place to, collect that money. A lot of it's in cash a lot of times, so you can have some potential theft and things like that. So it makes it harder if you're not like an owner-operator to have your own machines, because someone's got to manage all that.
But you can have cards, though, too.
You have card readers, and then you have to go feed the cards into the cash into like a card bill collector in the office, and they'll still have to deal with cash. So that's a potential issue. And/or I think if you had your own card reader, you could probably just have it auto-loaded and then tack it onto their monthly bill and collect it one at a time to get rent. So you can do those. There's no real right or wrong way. I think generally speaking, it's better to own the machines than having a laundry contract, but it's certainly a lot more labor intensive. Some of the other income things that now we kind of talked about that, some of the other big ones are really kind of, parking is really a big one where either you're going to have covered parking spots, have garages, or even just have open parking spots. If you own a property that has some tight parking locations, where you have like 2 or 3 buildings kind of around a smaller parking lot, that's like a little part of the property that always has a high demand. You can sometimes just, spray paint a number on there, put a sticker, and charge $20, $25 a month. That's certainly something you can get there, as well as, we've done a lot of things with like valet trash. That's the nicer properties have valet trash where...
What's that?
The residents will just, instead of putting their trash in the dumpster themselves, they'll just kind of set the trash bag outside the unit, and then Monday through Friday, typically either the property's porter or they'll hire a service will come and take it and throw in the dumpster for them, and then you charge them, say, $25 or $30 a month for valet trash. So if it's a third-party vendor, you typically can get it done for, say, $15, and you charge the tenant $30, so you're kind of scalping $15 a month on the delta between the two. So that's something some of the nicer properties do. It's a really nice amenity. The other things you do that's relatively recent is you just charge an admin fee. So what that is just a made-up fee that you just charge people on a monthly basis, essentially. You don't really get any service for it. You just charge them a statement fee or an admin fee or whatever you want to call it. It's basically just phantom fee that you put on that just drives more revenue. One of the things that we've been starting to do on all of our properties I referenced before are package lockers. So we'll go and buy a package locker, And then we front the cost of the package locker, and they could be $25,000. Some of these systems are not necessarily cheap, depending on the size of your property and how many you need. But we can then go charge our tenants $25 a month to have access to use a package locker, so they can pick up their stuff at the end of the day, 24 hours a day, versus having to wait for the office to come in. So it also helps us operationally. And it's another revenue source. That's what I think going to be. It's kind of the wave of the future. That's going to be more and more critical the longer we get into the e-commerce cycle, and the more the local traditional brick and mortar retail kind of gets eliminated and Amazon starts taking over. That's a bigger issue for all the properties. And then some of the other things you can do, you certainly get like vending machines on your property. You get revenue splits that way. And then we've been adding some like backyards as available on the properties. You kind of put a little extended fence, cost $1,000 or $1,200, put a little extended backyard, a little 10 by 10 backyard. You can charge $50 or $75 a month for that. So it's a pretty good ROI on the little backyards.
And how about if you put a lot of bad tenants in there and they don't pay their rent on time, and you collect thousands of dollars in late fees?
Yeah, late fees, things like that. Those are all things that you can if you have people that you pay late, charge them $75 for the first 4 days and $5 or $10 a day after that. The question is, can you collect it? That's the real question. You can charge it, but can you collect it? Usually, if you have a lot of stuff like that, you're also going to see a lot of bad debt as well, and as a write-off on your financial statement.
And that's a big deal that Mike mentions, is because when you underwrite these deals, I'm very sensitive on all these collections or lack of collections on these properties. Is that you may have a couple times where the tenant will make late payments and then you'll collect a late payment fee. But the more you get of that, it gives us kind of an indication how poor maybe the tenant is, or how poor your upfront screening is on the property. Now, you may like that, and you may want a bunch of tenants that pay their rent late, but as an underwriter, we don't like that. So be very, very careful about thinking you're going to go in and taking all these people that have been making their payments late and all of a sudden trying to convert them into tenants that are going to pay on time, and that may reduce your income as a line item on that one too. Anything more to add on that, Mike?
No, that's it. Just I think the other income is just as good as rental income at the end of the day. It drives NOI. So if you can consistently have high other income from laundry or parking or RUBS, which we didn't really talk about, which really isn't kind of other income, it's kind of utility income. Those are things that really help drive value just the same as rental income. So that's certainly something that we look at when we're looking at deals.
Sounds great. Mike, anything more to add to the podcast?
Yeah, if you guys find this information useful and helpful, we'll certainly appreciate a rating and review on iTunes or Stitcher or any of the other podcast aggregators. And if you want to find out more information on us, upcoming events, or you can just get the multifamily financing white paper, you can go to oldcapitalpodcast.com. That's oldcapitalpodcast.com. And you can find out all that information there, as well as a form to fill out if you want to ask a question for a future Ask Mike Mondays.
That's perfect, Mike. Thanks for spending some time with us. Again, Michael Becker, smartest person in the room.
I don't know if I'm the richest, but I might be the smartest.
I'm Paul Peebles. Have a great day.